Please go on to talk about tails.
Okay, so the main purchases are protective gear initially. Then the next things that we move into is ways of expressing yourself as a pup. And one of the ways that people like to get a little bit more pup-like is the use of a tail. So there's lots of different tails. This is a silicone tail, and it's designed to be inserted into the butt. So it works for women and for men. And if the thing about any sort of insertable item into the anus is that then the bum isn't designed to have something stuck in it. So my recommendation is always going to be, I wouldn't wear it for more than half an hour internally. And after a while, after about half an hour, your butt's going to start saying, I've had enough of this, and you will actually squeeze it out of its own accord. For something like, I don't know, a Mardi Gras parade or something like that, it's not fun to have a butt plug up your ass for walking up and down the street. It might sound good in stories, but in reality, it can be really uncomfortable. And so you can actually get tails that are designed to go onto a belt. Okay? So that goes onto a belt, and then you don't have to worry about whether or not it's going to drop out. Unless your belt falls off, the tail won't be going anywhere.
You also just may not want to put anything up your ass. Just full stop.
Yeah.
You're like, you know what? I'm okay with not doing it. And so that's a really good alternative for having a tail.
Yeah, so they're all good, but you can get non-insertable versions as well. However, if you are going to be using an insertable tail, there's a few things that you do need to know. The tails come in lots of different sizes, from extra small all the way through to extra, extra large. The small tails are small, though. People will go, oh, I've never had anything up my butt, so they'll go for a smaller tail. That's fine, but usually within 5 minutes it'll drop out because there's just not enough mass inside the butt to hold it. So this part here is the bulb, and that will be going inside your anus, and there's actually a little narrow area here. This is where the anal sphincter will be holding it in place. Okay? So the trick is use stacks of lube and take your time. You don't want to be just shoving a tail in. I actually recommend that people consider getting some sort of a tapered device, because the change from thin to thick is quite fast on these tails. So you can use a tapered device or a really light butt plug just to sort of relax the bum a little bit. Lots of lube, lots of lube. By the way, you should probably use lots of lube for inserting that into the butt. If you use a water-based lube, that's good if you're planning on having anal sex afterwards. However, the lining of the arse will absorb the water. Okay? So that can make the tail lock in, which is a good and a bad thing. It's less likely to fall out. But if you're worried, if it feels like the tail isn't going to come out, the trick to removing a tail is not to pull the tail out, but to push the tail out. So you go over the toilet, grab hold of the tip of the tail, and have a good old poo. And it will pop out, and because you're holding the end, it won't fall.
I mean, seriously, your body's going to do it. It's going to go, yeah, let's get rid of that. Yeah,
It'll be happy for it to go.
That's got to go. One of the other things about tails, George, is that they're in fluid, so there are some diseases that can be...
Absolutely. Yep. So this is anally inserted. For that reason, it can come in contact, or will come in contact with bodily fluids, and that includes anal secretions, potentially also blood as well, because hemorrhoids happen. Little fissures can happen as well, and that means that STIs and things can be transmitted throughout it. And we're talking about HIV, hepatitis B, hepatitis C, also chlamydia and gonorrhea can also be transmitted through the tail. For this reason, I do recommend that tails be fluid bonded. What that means is that if you are given a tail, it's yours for life. Okay? After you've used a tail, it's really, really important to clean it. Okay? And there are 2 steps to cleaning it. Well, 3 steps really. The first is, if there's any poo on it, you're washing away the poo with hot water and soapy water. Okay? Then I'd recommend just getting some antibacterial soap, sunsing it up on your hands, and then gently cleaning the whole tail in warm water.
It's a process that works really well. Just, I pulled it out on the toilet, I'm into the shower.
Yeah.
So that's like my sex toy thing.
Yeah, just kind of like a sex toy, yeah, into the shower, give it a copper.
For essential purposes, it is a sex toy. So Cleaning it with antibacterial soap will kill most things. However, Hep C is very, very resistant, and to a degree HIV, hepatitis B. So what I do recommend is if you are sharing toys, if you have any communal toys, that you sanitize that. And the easiest way is to get a baby bottle cleaning product, something like Milton. It's got a chlorine kind of smell. It's either a tablet or a liquid that you mix into water. What I do is I have a plastic container, it holds about 4 litres of water, 1 tablet of Milton, let it all dissolve, and then you just throw the tails into the fluid and leave it there for 15 minutes. And that will kill all viruses and all bacteria that's on that. Then you take it out, give it a rinse, pat it dry, and I put it away in a plastic bag, a Ziploc bag, throw it inside there, and we'll keep it clean and fresh for the next time we play.
If you're not sure how to find how to keep stuff clean, nothing is better than the baby cleaning stuff aisle in a chemist. This is the top of the range of, I wish to destroy all kind of dangerous bacteria and everything, because obviously newborns.
Well, can I ask a question about the toys then too? Because obviously there's a whole range of different stuff that you can get, like everything from rubber, silicone, steel, the works. Do you guys have any preferences, or is it just purely personal preference as to the different tails you have?
Personal preference, but each of the different products has its advantage. So if you're using a glass, like I don't recommend glass go inside the body. I know that there are glass sex toys, but if they were to break, there will be tears before bedtime. These are made with surgical silicone. Okay, they're designed to be inserted inside the body. Silicone can also be used with all types of lube, whether that be oil-based, silicone-based, and water-based lube. Rubber toys are a little bit more porous, and they're a bit harder to clean, and you can't use oil-based lubricants with them as well. So for pup play toys, I recommend trying to get silicone as much as you can. Square Peg uses surgical grade silicone, and I can recommend it. Don't buy cheap toys. Cheap toys are usually made with large petroleum-based products which can burn the lining of your arse, and that's not good, because once you go further than an inch or two inside the arse, there is no pain receptors on the lining of the arse, so you can't tell whether you're being burnt. So I'd always recommend going with silicone as much as you can.
And it's also, they'll break. Often cheap toys are mass produced quickly, just in a factory somewhere, it's like dump with the glue, quickly done. They'll be, rather than thoughtfully made, like this one here, with a leather piece holding it firmly, it'll just be quickly put together and they'll pull apart. And the last thing you want is bits pulling apart in your butt. Sometimes you'll see like a steel or a stainless steel or a glass tail, which will have like a fluffy, like a fox tail or a real animal tail. For some people, that's their thing. These aren't necessarily meant to represent something. So if I can break in for a second, I'll show you that tail. No, stay where you are. Griff, can I just get you on all fours, facing sideways this way? Yeah. So if you could just come forward a little bit more, Griff. Thank you. As you can see, this is a tail, and it's going to go here. Immediately it tells you, well, this person's pretty dedicated to their fetish since they've shoved something in their bum, or they've strapped something on. But with a belt, it'll be up here. So can we put this on your belt? Sure. Actually, no, it's okay, because when I think about it, I'm going to move it again. My apologies.
That's okay.
So if you have it up here, up like this, generally it's going to indicate you're in a assertive or I'm ready to participate and play, I'm happy to get out there mood. But another thing you can do is actually have your tail face down when you put it on, which lets everyone else know that you're feeling vulnerable or you're a passive or a submissive pup. So if people look around and they can't see the tail up and they see a tail down, particularly if it's going down between your legs, they know to be more careful with you. So the tail isn't so much about looking perfectly like a dog or a fox, but more about its utility in actually human pup play. Obviously, when you go arf, 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 and you shake the tail, because all you've got to do is squeeze your butt muscles and shake your butt just a little, and your whole tail will move. And the frequency of your movements tell you how excited you are.
And I guess that's another reason why the different styles of tails are a good indicator. Obviously, something that moves more, you can get more communication value out of
Yeah,
it.
you can. You're going to get a lot more out of it. So even just a show tail like this, all you need to do is just do hip swinging to get the same effect, and it works just as well. See, move those hips. Well, thank you. But thanks. Come sit back. Alpha, you mentioned